Hello and welcome to Between the Books. My name is Isadora.
And my name is Shannon.
And today we're going to be discussing The Starving Saints by Caitlin Starling. But before we get to that, Shannon, what are you currently reading? I know it's something exciting because you've been teasing me about it.
Yeah, since we last recorded our podcast, I've gone crazy, bonkers, insane. And I read 3 books in the span of 2 weeks, which is something I haven't done since I've been employed, which is I've fallen in love with Ancillary Justice. Have you heard of this? By Ann Leckie?
Yes.
You might have heard about it because my partner is always talking about this book.
Yeah.
In the same vein that she will talk about Gideon, she will also talk about this book.
Is that the name of the first book or is this just the name of the series?
It's the name of the first book. So there's Ancillary Justice, Ancillary Sword, and Ancillary Mercy. And I've now read all 3.
Okay.
So it came out in 2013.
Okay.
And it's a really beloved sci-fi. So it's a sci-fi book when it came out. And it won every sci-fi award, the Nebula Award, Hugo Award. It swept everything. And for good reason. It's very good. And my partner's been trying to get me to read it for 8 years. And I bounced off it twice. And then I finally sat down and I read it. I was now's the time.
Are they long books?
No, it's space opera sci-fi.
Okay.
So it's you need to put in the effort to I don't want to say it's a difficult book because it kind of isn't. And that's kind of what I thought when I was going to read it, that it was going to be more difficult than it ended up being. But it's definitely space opera sci-fi. So you kind of have to be in the mood for that. I guess.
Okay.
But it's about a spaceship. So the main character is a spaceship. And that's kind of the gimmick.
Sounds like something your partner would be interested in, not gonna lie.
So the book opens on this remote icy planet, and we're following a soldier named Breck. And Breck is and used to be part of an AI that was a spaceship. And the spaceship used to have multiple bodies, it was a ship and it also was in multiple bodies.
Yeah.
But now Breck is just one body who's on a revenge quest.
Is he kind of like a robot then? Physically, his, what does he look like?
It's kind of a spoiler.
Okay, don't tell me.
It's kind of a spoiler in how the AIs are put into the bodies and things like that. So it's kind of a spoiler, so I don't want to explain it. And Breck is on a revenge quest to try to kill someone. I'm not going to say who, but it's trying to kill someone. And it's dual POV, so you follow Breck in the present, trying to play out this revenge quest, and also in the past, when they were a giant spaceship known as Justice of Turin.
Okay.
And basically what happened to cause the spaceship to be fractured, to be basically all in this one body. And it's really good. I love books that are dual POV. I think that's controversial.
Yeah. Kinda. Yeah.
Because I think a lot, it's also my favorite part of Ninth House, and people hated that in Ninth House because they're it's so confusing. And I'm I love it.
Yeah.
Because,
I like it, I think. Yeah.
Because I love trying to figure out what happened to this character, to figure out why they're doing this thing in the present. I also like all the other characters in the books, the cast of characters, especially in the second and third book, they get really fleshed out. And yeah, sorry, this is a very long segment to say that I really love this series. And it's critically acclaimed for a reason. It might be my favorite sci-fi book.
That's a crazy thing to say. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow. That's wild. Because I've read a lot of sci-fi, I feel like a good amount.
I think I'm in my sci-fi era now.
Yeah. Wow.
I feel like this is my sci-fi year.
Yeah.
Because I want to read a lot more in the coming months, and I might read more sci-fi this year than fantasy.
Right.
But fantasy's been my leading genre.
Yeah.
For multiple years. Yeah, no, but I think I like it more than. This might be controversial, but I think I do like it more than The Locked Tomb. Wow. So I think this is number 1 now.
Whoa. Wow.
Although this might be recency bias, but...
Do you think I would like it?
Hard to say.
Yeah.
Because the first book, I really do recommend. I think a lot of people fall off the second and third book because there's a lot of political intrigue, actually.
Okay.
So the themes kind of this book revolve around colonialism and annexation. And so there's this book, but also the second and third book, where Breck is on a planet and is doing like council, like politics, like city politics. And that is not for everyone.
What's the world like? Like, what's happening in the world? Because you just kind of talked about the character, but...
Yeah, so it's like... So it's called the Imperial Ratch series.
Yeah.
And the Ratch is like the name of the empire that Justice of Turin Breck is a part of, or was built by. And this empire is like basically taken over the entire galaxy. And so it's about this empire that comes in and like colonizes different other planets and stations and things like that. So there's multiple like planets, multiple stations, like space stations that this book takes place on. But it mostly takes place on like outskirt kind of planets, like not like citywide planets or even like in the empire itself. Mostly like these small planets that the empire just eats, and about like how now people's lives are different because they've been annexed by like a much bigger empire. So like I also like this because of like the themes of like colonialism, and like I like what it says about that. But it's a lot, like the second book especially is very slow, so I understand why people don't like it as much, because it's a lot of Breck being on a planet. It's like almost like competency kind of thing, where Breck kind of comes in and like changes a lot about like people's lives politically and like how they like function and stuff. So, but that's also not too exciting to read, so I understand why people don't like it. Anyway, the segment's very long.
That's fine.
But that's why I think you specifically might bounce off it, but maybe you'll like it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not usually drawn to sci-fi books, or specifically sci-fi books that takes place in space.
Yeah.
But I feel like I have read something I like, so I'm not opposed to it. It's just usually not what I'm drawn to, but I've liked them before.
I don't like literary sci-fi very much. Like books that are basically literary books, but they take place in space. Like I don't like those books. I like space opera books, which is what this book is.
Yeah, it's giving Star Wars.
It is Star Wars. Yeah, it's a lot like Star. It's specifically, I guess, the prequel trilogy aspect of Star Wars. So that's what this book is, which I like and I want to read more of. If people have read A Memory Called Empire, I think A Memory Called Empire is a lot like this series and was probably inspired by Enlecky's work. Anyway, I think it's very good. I want to read more space operas. Give me more space operas to read.
Yay. Nice.
It also does a really cool thing with like gender in this book, and like it's very linguistics focused. It's actually really cool because I think a lot of books don't really deal with or at least I don't really know because I don't read a lot of space operas and I want to read more, but like language. It does a really cool thing with language, which is that the Radchai, which is like the people, they don't have a concept of gender. So everyone in this book has she, her pronouns. And there's other civilizations that have different languages that do differentiate with gender. So Breck will go around like misgendering people in the book because she's Radchai. And she will just be like guessing, like, is this your pronoun? But I think it's super cool the way that language is handled. Like, for example, in Radchai society, their word for citizen is the same word as civilized. So if you are a citizen of the empire, then you are civilized. And I think that just says a lot about how Radchai view like other minority people, which is not people. Like once you are in the empire, you are Radchai. But then obviously when you have so many groups like from different ethnic backgrounds, that isn't very, that doesn't go very well. So that's what this book like talks about.
Wow.
Yeah.
Intriguing.
What have you been reading?
So I've been reading 2 books. I've been reading Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. And if you guys remember from last year, that was the book that I wanted to read last year. That was like on my goal, I guess. And I didn't get to it. So it's now my goal for this year. So I am reading it. I don't know anything about Jane Eyre, so I actually can't tell you what it's about.
I also don't know anything.
Yeah, and that's kind of how I want to keep it. I think there's I'm assuming a big part of it is a romance, but I don't know. The only thing I know is like I kind of know there's like some sort of spoiler twist at the end that I've seen people reference online, but because I don't know what's going on and what this is about, like the twist doesn't really make sense to me right now. But I'm like a fifth of the way in maybe, and I'm intrigued. Like I like it. It's cute so far. I like the characters. I like the story. But I'm also reading 5 Dark Fates by Kendari Blake, and that one is the 4th book in a series. I think it's the last one. The first book in that series is The 3 Dark Crowns, and I read the first 3 books with my friend, I think like in 2019 or during the pandemic or something.
I remember you reading these books.
Yeah. And I didn't love them, but I do like them. But I didn't love them or anything, so that's why. And then we ended up just like reading other stuff, and like the years kept going by, so we didn't read it. But then my friend just recently was like, no, I really want to finish the series. So she reread all the other books, and she's like, okay, I'm gonna read it now. And she actually just texted me saying that she finished it. She literally started reading this weekend, and I'm like, oh, I'm very behind because I'm just starting. But basically it takes place in this fantasy world, and it's mainly on an island. And in this island, there's like a queen, and the queens always give birth to triplets. And the first few years of their lives, they're raised in this cottage, not with their mom. Like the queen kind of just leaves because their purpose is to rule. And then when they give birth, they're free to do whatever they want. So the 3 queens are raised at the beginning by like a caretaker in this cottage, and then eventually they're split up and they're raised by different families like far away from each other. And I think when they're about like 18, 19, I forget the age, there's an ascension, and that means they basically have to kill each other, and one of them will remain and become the queen. But it's not like they're put in an arena or anything. I think it's just like,
this is just like Wizards of Waverly Place.
Exactly. Yes. But so it gets up when they're like, yeah, this is the year of the ascension now. This like best queen wins. And basically also in this world there's like powers, so there's 3 main like types of powers, or like categories of powers that people have, and then usually each queen is a different one, but that I don't think that's necessarily a rule. But then they are moved when they go to live, they live with like the highest house of the people with these powers. So there is Mirabella, who is an elemental, so she controls like the weather and stuff, I think, in this one. I say I think because, again, I'm just starting the 4th book and I haven't read this in a long time. And then there's Arsinoe, and she is a naturalist. So they have like, usually they have like familiars, and they have like powers of like plant and earth and stuff. And Katarine, and she is a poisoner. So they're basically immune to poison, and they're very good with poisons, and like they can even be like healers and stuff because they're very good with like chemical things and just like stuff like that. So yeah, I'm in the 4th book now, and things are going.
Do you like remember the series? Like, do you feel like you need to reread the series?
No, but I reread the plot summaries online, and there's this website that literally just had, I think they just do plot summaries of every book, and so I read the entire thing. It took me a long time because it was very detailed, so I kind of remember it now. And also my friend did kind of like, we were talking about it, and she was like reminding me while she was rereading it, so I'm kind of up to date now. So yeah, that's what I'm reading.
Well, exciting.
And then I get to finish a series. I feel like that's exciting because that's one of the things I want to do this year, is either finish series or continue series, or like just series series in general.
Yeah, you know, when I was like finished the first one, I was like, oh, do I want to read the second one right away, or do I want to like read something else in the meantime? And I was like, if I don't read the second one, well, first off, I was interested in where the plot was going, but I was like, I should read the second one right now, just so I can like finish the series, you know, like just so I can I can have it all, and I know everything, and then I can move on.
Yeah, and it's fun, like kind of just going like from one to the
back
other.
to back.
It's, I like it. Yeah, and I miss that. That's why I want to do that again, like go back to my roots. Of like stopping, just like I don't want to like read one book and then stop. Let's just finish it, let's keep going. Especially if I really like it, like obviously I want to know where it goes. So yes, anyways, we've chatted quite a bit about this. So Shannon, tell us about the Starving Saints. Tell us the synopsis.
Amar Castle has been under siege for 6 months. The remaining survivors are running out of food, and Focine, a disorganized, paranoid nun, is tasked with performing a miracle: solve the food crisis. Soon, however, divine figures enter the palace despite the barricaded gates and bring a plethora of food and water. As the castle descends into madness, Phosine tries to figure out the true identities of the castle's new masters.
Ooh, spooky.
So I read this book a little bit ago, actually, because it was on my mid-year freakout tag from last year. Listeners know. As a book I was really excited to read last year. This is our first horror book for the podcast.
Yeah.
And it's also, horror is not a genre that I read a lot. So I was very excited to read this book, and also just sounds super cool.
Yeah.
So we're going to open with like our general thoughts. So Zora, what did you think of like the concept, the aesthetic, things like that?
Yeah. I think just like before that, like talking about the horror, this is the type of horror that I enjoy. And that's because I am not a horror fan at all. Like I'm not, like especially movies, like I get really scared. Like I don't like that. I don't want to be afraid. I don't want to be afraid of being in the dark in my own house. Don't like that. But especially like spirits and stuff. Not that this one doesn't. This one kind of plays around with supernatural stuff, but I don't like possessions and spirits and like really scary things. But I do like the physical, not physical, but like slasher, gory type thing, because it's not scary. It's just like kind of gross and horrifying, grotesque. Yeah, so it's different. So it's good because I wasn't scared at all in this. And
I think it could have been spookier.
It could have been spookier, but I liked where it went. And like, yeah, in terms of the concept and the aesthetic and everything, I think Caitlin Starling did a great job with like coming up with a really interesting concept and sticking to it and like doing like a really good job with it. Overall, like visually, I love it so much. Aesthetically, like I didn't look into it, but like the Pinterest boards for this, I can imagine like little like collages and stuff like that, because the visuals of it all, she really put a lot of care into it. And I think she has really good like writing style too, like very well descriptive stuff and adjectives and all that. It's stuff that we like we like medieval stuff like that, obviously, like the Everlasting. I think it kind of reminded me a little bit of Everlasting vibes in certain ways, like, you know, being in a castle, having like the knights and stuff like that. So I really liked that. How about you?
Yeah, no, I think I definitely agree. I think it's obviously nothing like the Everlasting, but I think like comparing it to like medieval fantasy, which we read a lot of, is like a good comparison, I guess. Because I think if you're into that kind of stuff, it's definitely a twist on like medieval fantasy. It takes all the same like imagery from medieval fantasy with like a horror twist. And I think if you are if you read a lot of that, I think you would be interested in this book. I think that definitely what drew us to this book. I also agree that I think the concept, I don't know, it feels so simple, but also like, yeah, just the way it was executed was very good. Like, it's just, okay, you have a bunch of these people that are starving in the castle, and then like something happens, and then it's like breaking down from the inside, basically. Yeah. I don't know, it feels original to me, but also like, ooh, it's just the concept feels so juicy. And I agree that Caitlin Starling did such a good job at like executing that and making it feel very claustrophobic almost, because we are like in the castle basically the whole time. And I think you need that in this kind of book to make it feel like, okay, these people have been here for 6 months. Things are dire. Yeah. I think she does a very good job in like the opening chapters and making it feel like that.
Yeah. And it's funny, like talking about how like we're now here saying like, oh, we love like the imagery, we like the aesthetics and everything. And it seems beautiful. But if you really think about it, it's actually awful, terrible, like gross. But I like how she plays with that, and but adds in like the saints and like the beautiful, there is beauty, but it's like masking the terrible things. I just really liked how she played with that, because if it was fully awful, you're like, oh my god, that probably like smells so bad, and they have like it's a blood everywhere, and everything, like it's just, we keep getting like the imagery of like the saints and like the honey and like the taste of the honey and all that. I don't know, there's like sweet elements to it, which is interesting. But yeah, I thought that was really good. Yeah, and I guess we kind of already talked a little bit about that, but the setting is one of my favorite
parts. Yes. Yeah. Like I said, like it just takes place in the castle basically the whole time, because you are trapped in the castle with them. Like it starts with the castle.
Which I love.
Yeah. Already under siege. Already things are dire. I like the stakes of the book a lot.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, it opens up and Focine is given like this already like impossible task. Where it's like, solve the food crisis. And she's like, I can't. Like, I can't do that. And I liked the different parts of the castle also. So Focine's like in a tower for a lot of the book because she's like basically trapped until like she figures out the food crisis. And then there's other protagonists in this book. There is Servoine, who is a knight for the crown, and there is Trela, who is a serving girl. And I really liked Trela showing us a different aspect of the castle, which is like all the remaining citizens who are like who've holed up in the castle, and showing us more about like the, I don't want to say like underground, but like where the people like kind of are in the castle, and they're like living in like filth because they like have to be like squeezed into like the small space. And I really liked that.
I like the like juxtaposition of Focine being by herself in her tower up there, and Trela being with like all these bodies like down there, and like at the like deepest part of the castle pretty much, and then Servoine being kind of an in between both worlds almost. Like I think Servoine almost like joins everything together. Yeah. Which I like. And like even like I really like the little chapel that they have. I think that's interesting. Even the gardens and stuff. And like we mentioned, there are 3 protagonists. And Shannon, what was who was your favorite?
So my favorite is Servoine. I loved her mostly because I am a sucker for knights. I love stories with knights. Yeah, that's all I need to say. And I liked Servoine's relationship with Trela a lot, and Focine. Like I liked, like she did kind of act as a sort of in between for the two of them, and she had, I think, a strong relationship with both. In the start of the book, Servoine is like tasked to like watch Focine, and she has like this backstory with Trela that we find out later.
I think Servoine also like connects them to the saints too. Yeah.
And then I like later on where she gets in trouble a lot in this book. And I like that she needs rescuing a lot.
I know. She fully is the one that needs the most rescue.
She's the damsel. Like she needs help.
The knight is the damsel.
And I think that. I love that. Like I think it's so different. I like that a lot too. Yeah.
Yes.
What about you?
I think Focine is my favorite. I just love how she's just a girl, you know? She's kind of like, I love how, they're telling her to do all these like magical things. And she's like, she's been able to do kind of like sort of like spells or magical like little things before, but she like doesn't even understand how she did it. So she could be like, oh my God, I don't know. Yeah. And I don't know. I just really like her internal conflict as well with like once the saints arrive, and just I really like Focine, but I also really like Trela too. I think all of the characters, maybe I like Trela's personality the most, because I like how she's like, well, fuck all of this, like I just want to get out of here, I don't want to survive. But
not to like make this like the thing about the book, but it does have a large like female cast, like what we said, like 3 main characters are like female, and also a lot of the main characters are also female. And I really enjoy how Caitlin Starling writes them to be so different from each other, and like their perspectives on the situation are so different. Like I like that Servoine, for example, believes in the monarchy a lot. And she's a knight. But Trela, for example, is like, no one's going to save me but me, okay? Like I can't rely on anyone but me. I got to get myself out of here, okay? And I like that. Like they felt so different from each other, and also like their relationships with each other were so strong, and I like that a lot.
Also with Focine and how she kind of like was a deserter almost from the priory, and like she was one of the priestesses, I guess, in this, and she kind of realized she saw things differently, so that she left, and now she's kind of a mad woman. The owner of this castle, he really trusts in Focine, and we don't really know why. I don't think it's ever fully explained why he has this blind faith in her, but because of that, they expect so much of her, even though the prioress is like, no, she's not doing the things how they're supposed to do. Yeah, she's like, this is not how you do this. But I also love they had the whole priory thing, and like there's so many different elements. I
really liked the priory, especially when the saints showed up and they like tried to oppose them.
Yes,
that was really good.
In the dining room.
Yeah, lots of good scenes in this book.
Really good scenes. Yeah. So if you haven't realized it, we really like this book and we recommend it.
But do you want to share some of our thoughts? Speaking of like scenes in this book, about like the general plot of the book.
There were a lot of really good scenes, like we said, and I think it was really entertaining, and I did overall love it. But my one little complaint is that I think a lot of it was quite repetitive, and we will go deeper into it later, but they just felt like the same scenes over and over, but like in perhaps like a different setting or with like a slightly different dialogue or like a different thing. But all three characters have their journey, the places that they would go to, and it was a lot of like, and then they go there and then they come back and then they go there again and then they come back, and that kind of kept going until almost the very end, which was like, oh god, we're back here again, like this, we've done this already. So I didn't hate it because I think the scenes were so good and they were so entertaining. It was just like in a bird's eye view point, like if you're like zoom out, you're like, oh, a lot of this is similar, but when you're in it, it's still a good time. But when you're out of it, you're like, okay, we could have changed a little bit of the plot to make it a little more different.
Yeah, my other thing is that I loved whenever the girls were with each other, and I feel like that happened rarely. I feel like they kept separating.
Yes.
Which was fine, but I really enjoyed when they were together, and I wish there was more of them trying to figure everything out together, because there's like bits of the book where they will like meet up, talk about like what happened, and they'll split up again, and then two other people will meet up and talk, and then they'll split up again.
It was rarely all three. I feel like
I feel like at the end, were they like all together,
except for this one part that I really like.
Yeah,
in the middle.
but
it was different.
Yeah, so I wish there was more of them being. Now again, there's plot reasons why two of them really couldn't meet up until later. so I get that, like I get it, but but because they are so strong as characters, and the bits when they are together are like my favorite parts of the book. I wish there was more of that, but I get why also they were separated for a lot of it. But I think that also feels like why it was repetitive. Yeah. Because it'd be like, okay, let's check in on this character, let's check in on this character, let's check in on this character. Yeah. And rarely were we checking in on multiple characters at the same time.
Yeah. Overall, like we mentioned, like the plot is very interesting and unique. Yeah. And I'm very impressed with like how Caitlin Starling came up with all of this. I think it's just really good. Yeah. So we really, really recommend. Did you talk about it as one of your top books of last year? Not really.
No, I guess not of last year, but I really enjoyed it. Yeah. Like it was definitely a book I liked a lot. I mean, obviously I read this in like last couple weeks ago, but I could see this being one of my top books of this year. We'll see how the year goes. I mean, hopefully I'll read a lot more good books. Yeah. But I think this is one of the books that I forget how many stars I gave, but I think it's definitely like I think I might have given it 4. Is it 4.5? Maybe not. Maybe I gave it 4.25. You liked it more than me then, I think. I think I gave it just a solid 4. I was like, yes, I recommend it, but like a solid.
I think it would be either 4 or 4.25 for me. Yeah. Which is pretty good.
That is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, but let's talk about the activity.
Ooh.
Or I guess we talked about this in the last episode, so this might be a little bit of a repeat if you listened to that one, which I hope you did. But we went to Emerald City Comic-Con this year, and we met Caitlin Starling.
Yes.
So, I mean, Shannon didn't meet Caitlin Starling.
I wish I met Caitlin Starling. I was busy at the Uncharted panel, but I wish I was there.
I met Caitlin Starling, and got my copy signed and everything, and she was really nice. I mean, we didn't see her at a panel, so we didn't get to see her like talk about it, but I told her that I was almost done the book. I hadn't finished it either, so I was talking to her about it, but then I recommended her this TV show called The Decameron, which I recommend if you likes this book. It's like a horror comedy, more like it, but it also takes place in this, I forget what kind of around medieval times, maybe. I might be wrong, but it's during the plague, one of the plagues. And
one of them. Pick your favorite.
Pick your favorite. And all these like rich people go to basically quarantine or like just spend time in this manner. But then like crazy shits are happening. I think like, yeah, just like these intruders come in and there's a lot of like not trusting each other because they don't all know each other that well. And there is just like the plague going on, and I think they also are hungry. Like I think it gets to a point where they're like running out of food too, and if you like that, I recommend that show too.
We bought, you didn't end up buying it, but we bought a sticker of the three girls.
I regret it because that was a so really cute. Pretty sticker.
I want to make it a magnet, I think.
Yeah.
And put it on our little magnet board. But I love book merch. I think people should make more book merch. I get that it's hard because there's no canonical reference for these characters to draw art from, but I love book merch, and I love that they were selling book merch for this book specifically.
Yeah. And it was Caitlin Starling that told me. She was like, did you know there's merch for this book? And she like told me where the booth was, and I went and I was like, Caitlin Starling sent me here. But I'm not buying it now. I really regret it because it was a beautiful art piece. So we didn't get to like fully do an activity for this one, but we have been talking about it. So it'll happen. We were planning. And Shannon saw a cool idea.
Yeah. So I should preface this because a lot of what we were planning to do was bee-related activities.
Yes.
And it is a little bit early in the year for the bees where we are, but I am terrified of bees.
Sad. Did the bee movie not?
Sorry, the bee movie did not change my mind. I'm terrified of bees because I can't kill the bees when they are near me because I love pollinators. So morally, I can't do anything for the bees.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of bee keeping related activities you can do that I was just not going to recommend. I was not going to be into.
I'd be so intrigued by it. I don't know if I would want to get that close to the bees. But I remember when I was a child that there was like an apiary type thing, and also like a just honey museum, bee museum, I don't know, like in my town. And I only went once, and it was a field trip of school, and that was literally the coolest place I've ever been. And I spent like years begging my parents to like, we should all go there, we should go back, and then we never did.
Yeah, so I'm not doing that. But there's a lot of honey related activities that we were looking into. One was that we were interested in a beeswax candle making workshop, which I think is so cool.
Yeah. And it really goes with the book because there is candles
in it.
Faustine makes candles. So
that's something that you could do if you're interested in candle making, because that's a pivotal scene in the book. And also bees are a big part of this book as well.
And also if you're like me and you haven't eaten honey in a long time.
Jo's got another thing she was planning on doing.
My other thing is, I won't go into detail, but because of like health reasons, I had to stop eating honey. And I've I used to love eating honey. I love honey. And I stopped a couple years ago, and I changed it to maple syrup, which I really like now too. But reading this book, it like made me crave honey so much. And I'm like, maybe I could just try reintroducing it into my diet. Give me the honey. Because I miss the honey. And honey's like so good. So whenever they were talking about eating like the honeycombs or like just honey, like whenever they drop honey, I'm like, I'm salivating. Like I want that. I want that to be me. So in the future, you will hear me talking about how I
have honey. We can do it right now.
Oh my gosh, a spoonful of honey. Oh my God.
This is Dora's first spoonful of honey.
The bees did that.
The bees did that for us.
The bees they just did that. They like do so much for us. Truly.
That's why I can't kill them. But they do frighten me deeply.
Anyways, that's kind of the I'm sure there's so many other activities. You could visit a castle.
If we lived in Europe, our podcast would be so much easier.
It would be so much interesting. Like, imagine us going to a medieval castle for the podcast. One day, but not today. Today we're here, and we're gonna go into spoilers.
So if you haven't read this book, you should.
Yeah, you really should. And then you can come back and listen to the rest of the episode. Spoiler time.
I feel like it's really hard to talk about this book without talking about spoilers. I feel like we were doing the first part of this podcast, and I was like, there's so much I want to talk about. Specifically about like the saints and like the constant lady.
Yeah, I know. I kept having to like hold back.
But now you get our unfiltered thoughts.
Yeah, I feel like we barely talked about the saints, so maybe let's dive into that. I love them. They were so cool. I spooky, but like really cool.
I like them a lot. I like the constant lady a lot. So first off, I just like the idea that they come to the castle like in the images of their like idols and they're like, you know, the people like they pray to and stuff. Like the Constant Lady is a religious figure in their society. And then like the quote unquote Constant Lady shows up. Everyone's like, yay! Also, again, like another part that I love is that the Constant Lady shows up and Focine is like, I did this. Oh no. She's like, did I do this? Did I do that? Oh my god. She's like panicking. She's like, how did I do that?
It's like, yeah, what did she do right before they showed up? Like,
she does
was just
do
thinking.
something.
I feel like she was either just thinking
about it.
She just had a thought. She's like, oh, I wish the Saints came. And then they come and she's like, fuck.
I did this. I think it's so funny. Also, like you were saying, like, rip Henry from the Secret History. You would have loved the Starving Saints.
This is what Henry wanted. If you've read the Secret History, like, tell me this isn't what Henry would have been, like, so obsessed with the Saints.
But yeah, I love like the, you know, like Dionysus-esque like party.
The black eye.
Yeah. That like goes on in the castle. Like that scene where like Sir Voin is sitting with Focine. And Sir Voin's already like charmed at this point by like the Constant Lady.
I love that scene.
And then they're like, Focine, you should eat the food.
Yes.
And they're trying to get Focine to eat the food. And like Sir Voin is like making her, like holding her down and stuff. And I'm like, oh my god. Like I get like what you're saying, it's just scenes in this book that are like so good.
Yes.
That's one of them.
Yeah, because Sir Voin was like eating it and Focine's like, please look at what you're like for like
look at what you're eating.
Like, look what you're eating. Like you're not seeing what you're eating. They're fully eating like a leg.
Yeah.
So, it's so good.
Like, it's like, again, like we were saying, it's the way that it's written is not scary, but it is like, if you just like imagine it in your head, it's like terrifying.
Yes.
But it's very blunt, maybe in the writing is maybe the best word, where it's like, here's the horrific thing that is happening. And like, whatever you're imagining in your head is like, is like worse. Like, you have to like, really think about what is happening and then you're like, oh, that's terrifying, but it's like not meant to be scary, it's meant to be blunt in how horrific it is. Does that make sense?
Yeah. As horrifying as it was, it just looked beautiful in my head.
Yeah.
You know
see,
what I mean? Like the way that she described it,
like I totally understand. Like I feel like the way we're describing it doesn't make a sense at all, but if you've read the book, you're like, oh yes, the beautiful horror and eating the leg, like you know, like the way it's written, it's like that's the most tasty leg you've ever like heard about. But I'm getting like so distracted. But like the point that I want to say about the Constant Lady and the Saints is like there's a lot of not telling about what they are, but there's a lot of like showing where it's like they're inspired by a lot of like fae like kind of stuff. Like they aren't hurt by iron and they like come in like different like visages and things like that. Like it's very fae folklore, but it's not explicitly told to you like who the Constant Lady is and who the saints are. And I just like the mystery kind of.
And even with like the food, it's almost like fairy food in a way. Like they're tricking them, right? Yeah,
like it's definitely like fae derived, but it's not told in the book like, oh, these are fairies that are doing it. It's still like a little bit of a mystery.
Yeah, which I really like.
Yeah, I like that a lot too.
And did you understand, because you know at that point I was a little confused, did you understand that like did they come like as bees? Like did you get that? Because I remember Focine was like, show me how you came in. And it's just they were explaining just like the buzzing of bees and like them coming in, like the vision being weird and stuff. So I like, that's what I kind of thought. Okay. That they came as like bees.
Maybe.
But I don't know if that's correct.
I don't remember now what I thought.
But also, because that ending, I think it is meant to be just like feel so chaotic and so like confusing. Yeah. Which is what it was. Like Caitlin Starling did an incredible job at writing that feeling and making that like confusing, like almost like delirious feeling. Yeah. Yeah. But I thought the Saints were so good. And like the whole thing with if they looked really close, sometimes they would look and they'd be like, they're looking like that looks like face paint. Like you can see that they're like, they're like actually like their clothes look weird and stuff. And then like later in the book, when Trailer specifically looks at them and can see what they really are past their facade, and that kind of helps take that power away from them. That was so cool. And my favorite part, one of my favorite parts of the book was the Loving Saint. I really liked his relationship with Trela. every scene that they had together, I thought it was so interesting how he was like attracted to her in a way and she was attracted to him, but they were also kind of using each other and trying to get information out of each other.
See, it was very Faye in that regard, where Trela had to like trick the loving saint into like working with her and like making a bargain with her and stuff. And again, like just that aspect was really cool in their relationship.
I thought it was really hot.
Hell yeah.
But then also when we get to the end and Trela kind of turns against him and he just turns so creepy. Like even like she talks about like his facial expression and like he just looks very monstrous and like he's got like this really creepy smile, and then he's just fully like hunting her after that. And the way that she like kills him with like just ripping him apart and like biting his throat and stuff, and like the blood, their like blood being like gold like honey and sweet like honey.
Oh, so cool.
It's the imagery. There were the other things, but I didn't care as much about them.
They were less fleshed out. I wish they were fleshed out more. I also wish like the loving saint was fleshed out earlier in the book. Yeah. Because I feel like it all happens later on in the book.
Yeah.
And so the only people that really get fleshed out, I feel like, are the constant lady and, I mean, obviously, and the loving saint. But I think all of them, I think, could have been super cool.
Because there was that one that was interesting, the one that used to go to the kitchen. Like he was the one preparing the food.
Yeah.
I also love, there's so many things that I love this book. The whole thing with Sir Voin, and so Sir Voin and Trela have this like weird, not weird, but like this past.
Yeah.
And for some reason, Trela kind of looks like the constant lady. So
yeah. Oh, I thought that was really good.
Yes. Yeah. And so Sir Voin, when Sir Voin's kind of like enchanted or like being mind controlled by the constant lady, she runs into Trela and she just kind of thinks Trela is the constant lady, and she's like she's like kneeling at her feet basically, and the constant lady sees that and she's pissed off, so she makes it so Sir Voin can't see Trela.
I think that's so funny.
That's genius. Like how did she think of that? Because then Sir Voin just can't see Trela, and Trela doesn't realize it until they run into Focine as well, and then Sir Voin's like, he's talking to Trela, and Sir Voin's like, who are you talking to? And then she realizes that whenever she like looks, but she feels like she should look away or something, like she's looking past it. And she just has to trust Focine that there is someone there, and then they should be following this person. And I thought that was so genius. And then at the end, when she finally sees her because she's holding the iron.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wait, the Focine's little guys. Remember the little guys?
In her room?
Yeah, I forget their names, but
they were like
her little pets.
I know, but what were you picturing them as? Because I feel like they were dragons.
But they also had like they had like scales, but also fur.
Yeah.
I'm picturing
like little dragons.
Yeah, kinda like I was thinking like an armadillo.
Oh,
kind of, but I don't know. They don't really have. It's not really scales that they have. It's like a hard type
like
thing.
Shell thing. Yeah.
But I was thinking because they kept like kind of like scurrying away and like, so I was thinking like that size, like small and but with fur. I don't know. I was almost like, because I feel like a lot of the times when Focine would see them and stuff, it was like the corner of their vision. It was almost like a shadow goes by or a shadow this, and so it was also kind of like blurry in my head. Anyways, I did really like too at the end when things are going crazy that they have like the extra little monsters or like little creatures that came from like wherever the saints came from, and they looked like almost like Baroque like paintings, like right, they were kind of like describing as that like weird like paintings come to life. And I was just thinking, you know, like those really like ugly cats and dogs and Baroque paintings. So that's what I was picturing, you know. Those ones that you're like, that's not what a dog looks like. That's what I was picturing, but like kind of creepy. Oh, I love when like Trela kind of controls them and then she makes them like kill each other. Oh, what a good book. Oh, and the whole thing with like the cave.
Yeah.
And the creepy little guy.
I liked that guy a lot.
That was the only time I got a little scared was when they went to the cave, or Trela went to the cave for the first time and they heard the voice being like, I've missed you. I'm like, oh no, get me out of here.
When she had to give up her ear.
Yeah.
That was so
she lost her finger first, but then she had
to come back and then the voice was like, your price will be more. And it's like, I know you're gonna come back.
And she kept like having like her ear would just hurt, but there was like nothing. It wasn't like bleeding or anything. It was just like gone. And she would hear like almost like a ringing. And also I love that I'm very intrigued about that scene where she goes outside and she realizes that there's no one attacking the castle, they just can't get in.
I think it was so good because again, it was like, okay, so at this point, a lot of stuff is happening in this book, and I'm not truly following all of it, but I thought this part was super cool, which was the time thing, which is, when Trailer goes outside and she's like, and then someone's like, oh, no, this castle hasn't been under, like, there's no one in it, like, there's, or at least no one's come out of it, like, they've tried to go in and like, there's no siege, like, they're not under siege, and I was like, oh, that's so awesome. And it's like, also the, like, weather is different.
Yes.
And it's like,
because I think it's summer in the castle. Like, it's really hot. And
but Trailer gets out and it's like colder, like a fall thing. Yeah. And it's like, oh, what happened? And then, but Trailer goes back in and it's obviously summer, like it's very hot and stuff. And it's like, oh, I didn't totally understand why that was happening, but I think it's cool.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like they were almost like stuck in time
basically is what it was like insinuating,
which I really loved. Also, we kind of alluded to it, but the prioress like automatically being like, those are not our saints, those are not real, and they go
and like trying to stand up too.
But they can't, and then freaking Cervoine cuts off her tongue.
Oh my god, I totally thought this prioress was dead. Like for like every time she showed up, I was like, all right, this is it for her. This is it for her. And the girl kept living.
I know.
I was like, she's still alive.
And like, okay, actually just going back to our kind of complaint earlier. Now we can like dive into it right now. It was very repetitive, and this is like Trailer kept just being like, I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna go hide my food, and then I'm gonna take off my clothes, and then I'm gonna go into the tunnel, and I'm gonna go in the thing, and then I'm gonna come back outside, and then I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna go back to my cave. It was like a little back and forth. And then Fosine's thing was always like, I gotta go back to my tower, and then I'm gonna go down and see some things, and I'm gonna go back to my tower. It was like a lot of up and down. And then Cervoine was like, I'm gonna go get mind control, and now I'm free.
And now I'm getting mind controlled again.
And now I'm free, and I'm doing it again. Like, it just like, it was even though I love all the scenes and I think everything was good, I think overall like the plot was just like, we're back here again, like we're back again.
It's like, as much as I love Cervoine, the girl spends a lot of time on her knees. And I'm like, ooh, it's cool and fun, like the first, I won't lie, first couple times she does it, but she's like pledging her loyalty to Trela, pledging her loyalty to Fosi, pledging her loyalty to the Constant Lady, pledging her loyalty to Trela, who she thinks is the Constant Lady. The girl is on her knees for most of the time on the book, and like that's fine, that's okay, but it did feel very repetitive, and I wish she got to do other things because I like her a lot. We didn't talk about it, but I liked her relationship with Leo de Gardis.
Yeah.
I thought that character was also very good.
That scene when they're like in the table and he can't move because he's lost his legs.
Yeah. But when she's like with him later and he like kind of gets out of the mind control, I thought that was good.
Yeah. When they're like sitting there and they're like, he's like,
oh wait, yes,
scared,
you're right.
And he's like, are you awake too? Like,
you're awake too. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
I think that was cool.
Really well done. And like, the king being like taken apart and fed to the people.
I really like that scene where it's just like, I really like the writing in the scene where I forget who it is, but when they find the king like strung up basically and everyone's like eating him, and it was just like, the king is dead. Like, it's just like so blunt and like so like, and everyone's eating him. Like, it's like so, this is what I meant when I was talking about the bluntness of the writing, where it's like, okay, you had this like monarch who like Cervoine saw as like the absolute power basically in like the second chapter when she's introduced, and it's just like later on in the book and it's like, that means nothing, like the king is nothing anymore, like almost a laughing stock.
Because the moment the saints come out, they're like, oh my gosh, he like fully just he gave away everything to him. Like he's has no power anymore. And something that I like too is that how like they were all starving at the beginning, and especially Trela, she like sees it and she sees those two kids and she's like, they're all starving, like they have nothing to eat and stuff. And then later, I think it's during the king scene, she sees those kids eating and she's like, I can't even like stop, I can't even be mad because I see they're like full, they're like stuffed cheeks and like they're full bellies, and I'm like, I'm kind of happy that they're doing this. And like, when Francine like becomes, she doesn't become a saint, obviously, because none of them are saints. But like when she's kind of becoming one of them, later, and like the visuals, like everything started melting, and you're like, she's looking around and like it feels like the world is shaking, and the palace, the castle walls are melting, and like everything's just so. And she starts screaming and stuff, like there's like so much noise, and then Trela comes out of the cave, and she's like, oh shit, there's something wrong. Yeah. And Focine kind of like transforms her tower, and she just like has this weird power now. I don't even know what happened. I don't even know how she did that, but it's pretty cool. I also really liked how Caitlin Starling wrote, like, it felt like really sensual, the book.
That's a good word to describe it. None of the characters were explicitly, I mean, they do kiss each other, but it wasn't like romantic.
Yeah. No, it was just like lust.
Yes.
And I feel like there was a lot of, I think that's a key word in this book, because there's so much of like lust for the food and for like gluttony and desire and all that, and just like like the lust for each other, especially between those three characters, and also with the saints. And I think it was really well done, considering there were no like explicit sex scenes or anything of the sort, but they did kiss and stuff, and like there was some touching.
It was obvious that they really wanted to.
Yeah.
And I also, like, I don't know if no, that's a lie. I just realized. But it's not very common for me to read a book with, like, polyamory in it. And I think it was really cool. Especially with, like, 3 girls.
Yes. Yeah. And, yeah, I know I loved the imagery of, like, when Focine was, not that she was acting correctly, but when she was on the throne. I really liked that. Or when Trailer's about, oh my god, we didn't even talk about this. When Trailer thinks that Servoin is the loving saint, using her face to trick her, and then they start like kissing, but like she's trying to kill Servoin, and they're like, and then she kills Servoin.
Yeah.
And then she realizes that it was Servoin, and she's like freaking out and crying and stuff. That was such a good scene. Really good scene. And then the loving saint comes out and she's like, oh, it was you. Like, I can see that you're like, did you have fun? Because I can see like your lips are like all red. Like you had your fun there too. And then she's like heartbroken because of what she did. And I really liked her story with Servoin too, with the whole like, she hated Servoin. Her whole goal was to kill Servoin. Yeah. And then, but you kind of see she's got like this crush, this like love, desire for Servoin. Yeah. And there's a lot of like, obsession in this book.
That's another good word for it. Obsession. Especially with like, Trela with Servoin, and also just Servoin in general, but also with like Focine at the start. And and just like weird loyalty as well. Like, because Servoin talks a lot about how her relationship with the king, and how she wasn't even like a knight anymore. She was just like his lapdog. Yeah. And that was interesting because she still had this blind loyalty to him, even though she could also see that wasn't right and where she wanted to be. So that really played really well with her being so easily manipulated and getting mind controlled every 2 seconds.
Anyways, honestly, really good. 10 out of 10. Not 10 out of 10, but like very well done, Caitlin Starling. I'm really impressed. I really want to read her other books.
I'm really excited to read The Graceview Patient. Is one that we bought at Emerald City Comic Con. I'm really excited to read that one.
And I'm intrigued by the death of Jane Lawrence.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to read The Death of Jane Lawrence. I think I will think about it.
Even though your partner has been like begging us to read it.
I will think about it. Yeah. She likes Starving Saints more.
Yeah. But I think like I could see this being like a top, I mean, it really depends on how other books are, but like a top author in terms of writing. Oh, and okay. Just like, I could see that. Yeah, okay, I really enjoyed this book.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah. Unfortunately, like as much as I would love to see it on screen, I don't think this could ever be well adapted. I think maybe animated in like a really interesting style. Almost.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Yes. It would be hard, I think, to show it, because again, just imagining they're eating people the whole time, and it's like difficult, I think, to get, I don't know how you would do it, just the beautifulness of it to come across, but also the horrifying aspect that it is people like the whole time.
Anyways, I think that is it for our thoughts. We've just kind of been sharing our favorite scenes, which was fun. I liked it.
I do feel like this book, and I don't want to say this as a slight against the book, but it feels like a lot of like really good scenes. Yes. Interconnected within like okay plot, like you know, like but there's a lot of these really like good like ooh kind of scenes, you know, like no, I
feel that as well.
But did you read The Starving Saints by Caitlin Starling? Let us know. You can leave a comment wherever you're listening to this. You can you can follow us. You can also email us at betweenthebookspod@gmail.com.
Yeah. And for our next episode, we're going to do a little like discussion. So about like some of our favorite series and books, especially growing up, the ones that we obsessed over. So we're going to stick with a obsession theme.
Yeah.
But yeah. So thanks so much for listening. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.